Greetings, greetings, and salutations. Jamaica Brace for Melissa, as Melissa has become the strongest hurricane on the planet this year, ladies and gentlemen. And we are hoping and praying that all is well at this point and that we have taken all the heeds and have battened down the hatchets and have made our last minute shopping and securing the place, because right now, over the weekend, Melissa has become a category 5. Yeah, displaying winds of up to 175 miles per hour with its strongest gust, making it the strongest storm on the planet of this year. Jamaica's worst hurricane this could turn out to be, as Melissa outer bands are lashing out on Jamaica with winds. Mandatory evacuations has been issued in vulnerable places in coastal areas of Jamaica. Melissa has already unalived 3 people in Haiti and 1 person in the Dominican Republic. Now, it has potential to be a category 5 when it lands and touch land tonight. People, I want the item to know that don't take this as a joke. Share this file to any friends and family that this might help or would like to hear the content, because it's being predicted, that there could be over 40 inches of rain, 13 feet surge on the seas, 160 miles per hour sustained winds, and this could cause erosion and excessive damage to infrastructures and road. This will cut off communications and light. So if you do have to make movements amongst the island right now, I'm telling you, make movements, because tonight, Monday night, is going to when the hurricane is going to touch land. Now, the Norman Manley International Airport sits on a thin piece of strip of sand above sea level between Kingston Harbor and the open Caribbean Sea. It is exposed to boats on both sides, and we're worried right now. We are looking at what Melissa could potentially do, because this is going to be pushing, the hurricane is going to be pushing from the southern shore and driving straight up into the harbor, and the surges might pile up into drains as flooding might run into the road. That's exactly what we are worried about right now. So we are warning that anyone that's close by the coastal area, even the downtown area, Norman Manley area, yes, even in the Tivoli Garden area, we are worried about you, and there are evacuation places like schools that are available. Now, the Blue Mountain Peak area are being warned to make sure that they strap everything down, and those who can leave. This mountain rise up over 7,500 feet in elevation, and because it's so high and it's exposed all the way up high, and it's going to be the part of Jamaica that gets the water first. Yes, and we're expecting to have over 200 inches of rain, yes, this year for the mountain, and this can also loosen roots and create land erosion. So we are asking you to secure yourself, your products, and your cattle. The maximum rain that's total from Melissa is going to be about 40 inches. In the nation's higher elevation. It's about 20% of what Blue Mountain would average per year. And this rainfall is going to happen over a few days. So this land is going to be saturated, and there's going to be a high probability of landslide. Now, I do have some weather expert. As you know, I am not a weather expert, and I have some weather expert telling us about what's going on, where the storm is. I'm asking my people there in St. Elizabeth, especially in the southwest part of Jamaica, Westmoreland, all those places, Galtiga Bay, St. Bess, all of those places in the southwest, the northwest part of the island. I want to make sure share up the file. Make sure your family and friends are taking this storm serious, because it appears that Jamaica will get a direct hit tonight, in the night, Monday night, go on through Tuesday morning. The storm should pass us by Wednesday. But again, I'm telling you that Jamaica is little, but with Talawa, yes, we are a tough not to crack. We're a pebble. So, I'm telling you that Jaja sent his rain and storm to wash the dirt off the earth, to renew the situation and the place. So I'm telling you, say, ban down the place, and as long as nobody get hurt, everything can be replaced. Right now in Jamaica, I'm asking you to tell your people, your friends and family to take it serious, because I notice BBC, NBC, all kind of international news are in Jamaica right now. So I don't think they would waste up this resource and send so many people down there when it's not, if nothing was going to happen. So it seems like we need to make sure we're taking this serious, especially the people from the southwest part of the island, because it appears that tonight Melissa will make landfall. Tonight Melissa will make landfall, and it will make landfall, at least what the weather expert I've been saying from the southwest part, approaching probably around Black River, St. Elizabeth, Lacovia area, and that's the area I and I man family is from. So, it's kind of tough right now. I'm not a weather person. I don't usually touch the weather. But right now I'm calling out to the families and friends, bring in the goat them, bring in the cattle them. Make sure you nail down the chicken coop, roof, look at extra, throw 2 block pan it. If you have any old spare tire, throw it pan it. Put 1 rope across the zinc, because Hurricane Melissa seems to be swelling to a category 5. And it appears that we're really going to get touched. We're going to be getting a lot of heavy wind, and we're going to get a lot of rain, and it's going to be leaving us probably about Tuesday in the evening. This is the calm people right before the storm people. So I'm not telling us, say, yo, everything I got wash for, because say, look, Jamaica, look about it, Talawa, and we're hard not to crack, and we build strong, and we do all of this. But we're telling you, say, take the necessary precautions, especially if you are located in the low areas, because those places are, more likely to get flood. So the wise man built his house on a rock, and I man did just that. St. Elizabeth, all of the hills people them, the original maroon them, Akang Pong on them place. I say, Carisbrook, build up yourself. Santa Cruz, now worry yourself. Lacovia, make sure you want to move to higher grounds. Bring in the cow and the goat and nail up the kitchen coop tighter tonight, because tonight the storm a go ball. And if you can buy two hard dough bread and buy some Horlicks and some Milo, this is the time to relax and put your leg up and give thanks that you have somewhere to lay your head in the time of the rough time. So a more life and a more joy. I'm going to let you hear what the experts are saying about the weather and how important it is. I edited up this video from last night and I did not load it up. So I say, you know what? Let me stop what I'm doing and let the people them know, say, no need for tech. Melissa serious. Melissa is a serious girl, It's a good girl and she don't ramp no games. So if you prepare, you're going to be all right. But if you're going like Melissa a joke, she'll leave you underground overnight. Quick, she take flight because she know you no skin teeth in. A good girl, a serious girl. She's going to forward, do her work, wash out what you wash out, clean up what you clean up, and then go about her business. They're saying that it should be touching the eastern part of Cuba by Wednesday. Turk and Cater's supposed to be, TC supposed to be getting some high wind, and it should be going off over back, turning back up to South Carolina area. But I'm telling you, tonight is Jamaica's night. Tonight is Jamaica's night. So if you're out there right now, I'm telling you, say hunker down, because Monday night going on into Tuesday morning is when the hurricane is touching land. At least that's what all these models are showing. And they're showing that Jamaica is going to get touched, especially in the southwest part, going all the way back up to north. I'm talking about St. Elizabeth. I'm talking about Kingston gonna get a little bit, especially when on the winds. But what I'm saying is gonna be, they're saying it's going to make landfall tonight, going on down into Tuesday morning, and hopefully leave by Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. But they're saying that the hurricane is going to touch Jamaica directly in the southwest part. I'm talking about St. Elizabeth, a matter of fact, Black River, Lacovia area, Savlamar, Westmoreland, yes, Montego Bay, all those places you have to make sure that you button down extra. The entire Jamaica is going to get the hurricane winds, and some of them going to get even category 5. Right now, we are already feeling some of the forces that you see out there.
Let me show you Hurricane Melissa. It's almost a category 5 hurricane right now, giving you the very latest on it. Winds are at 145 miles per hour. 157 miles per hour. That makes it a category 5 hurricane. So it's a category 4 right now. It is moving to the west very slowly at 5 miles per hour. It's going to continue to the west for at least the next several hours, very slowly to the west at 5 miles per hour or 7 kilometers an hour. Then it will start to make its turn up toward Jamaica, and a little bit more of a shift. Again, there's going to be subtle changes in this, right? The last couple days, it could have been anywhere from East Jamaica to West Jamaica. I'm looking at this a little bit more toward the west now, just because of that due westerly route, which overall is a bad thing because we talked about it days ago. On this track, it just sits over water, and that's why it's able to blossom into that category 4 to category 5. It is about 185 kilometers south-southwest of Kingston, or 115 miles south-southwest of Kingston. Now is the time, of course, it is getting into overnight. We want to be where we need to be for this storm. It's going to be a slow go. Still tomorrow morning, some of us in our northern zones won't have a ton of action, right? I mentioned the long duration with this, really, especially as we work into late tomorrow. That rain is going to really spread in even more so. We'll get the significant flooding, and then tomorrow night is the worst weather. Sunset tomorrow night into sunset tomorrow into tomorrow night, and early on Tuesday, and much of the day on Tuesday, those hurricane conditions. That's what we're going to be seeing with this. So again, all on track, a little bit more to the west, though. That's what I'm seeing. I don't just rely on the models, a bit more to the west. Looking down the road too, by the time we get into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, crossing extreme eastern Cuba with hurricane conditions, and then working its way toward the southeastern Bahamas, back toward the Turks and Caicos. We're taking some of those precautions, especially Crooked Island in south. And meanwhile, as all the winds for parts of tonight, and then takes its turn. So showing you the winds in this, I'd like to know about that too, especially for tomorrow night. Now, this is working our way into 9 o'clock in the morning. By the time we hit 5 o'clock tomorrow, you can see on Monday, this is when those true hurricane conditions arrive along the southern coast. The center here, category 4, category 5 winds moving in, and you see how it's a little bit more to the west, but all of us get the hurricane conditions at some point as we work forward. This is very early on Wednesday. Looks like that landfall 4, 5, 6 in the morning here near Treasure Beach. That would be intense weather. I have up to the winds in Montego Bay. I want to show you that. Higher wind. Treasure Beach. That would be intense weather. I have up to the winds in Montego Bay. I want to show you that. Higher winds. I've adjusted things. I've dropped them a little bit in our western zones and spots, but look at this. By the time we get into Tuesday, still the hurricane conditions brushing our northeastern coast of Jamaica. So you could take this map, and then eventually later on Tuesday, it gets out of here by Tuesday night. So you could take this, kind of go back on YouTube, pause it if you need to see kind of the scale of the winds, but you could see how large of a system this is, right? All of us are getting the hurricane conditions out of this in those very major hurricane impacts, especially where the eye of this comes on shore. By the time we get into Tuesday night, again, this will be moving away, always looking for an end in sight. So for tonight, we've had some tropical storm conditions already in some of the bands of rain. Some of us have lost cell service. Some of us have already lost power. Looking at some gust or sustained winds, 50 to about 60, swinging right along our coastline. That's what we'll be on the lookout for, southern coastline, as we go into tonight. Again, it's still hanging out to the south, right? It's still to the south, even as we work our way into much of the day tomorrow, and then it will start to take the turn and start to lift up. So late in the day, we'll have the winds around 80 miles per hour. So really, again, tomorrow morning, you really need to be where you need to be in place for the duration of this, because conditions just continue to go downhill. The flooding will be very intense throughout the day. I mentioned the kids as we work our way into tomorrow night. It gets scary, so it's always a good idea to kind of give them a heads up on some of the sounds. And with that, tonight is a good night to try to get some sleep. I suggest that. Just if you can, just kind of turn everything off
Tonight,
and just get some rest, because tomorrow night is going to be such a long night. So again, my biggest advice in the short term, aside from all the preps we've been doing, and you can see more of that in the prior videos, I don't want to repeat myself too much, is to get some rest tonight, because by the time we get into tomorrow night and Tuesday morning, this is what we're looking at. Southern coast, winds around 150 miles per hour. Montego Bay, with this more of a westerly track, we're looking at winds now of 120 miles per hour. And as it lifts kind of to the north, we'll get a secondary surge trying to kind of wrap in around this back through Montego Bay. So the news has not been better in our western zones. I was just chatting with the folks at Negril Pup Rescue, which are doing a great job with the animals. So we're looking at, of course, humans, pets. So we're looking at, of course, our property in this, thinking of the animals out there as well. They're doing a great job. Negril, again, higher winds expected so long this westerly track, which we've been seeing, has been holding and then kind of lifting up to the north. So Montego Bay, we're going to be on the edge of these 150-mile gusts, the potential of that. Where the core of this comes on shore, it looks like as of now it could be very close to Black River or Treasure Beach, but it still could be over toward Milk River, Kingston. We'll just see kind of when it takes its turn, but it has moved a little bit past Kingston to the south, which is telling me the landfall point most likely is Treasure Beach, or even a little bit more off toward the west. In this pocket here, and I may shift this a little bit more to the west, we'll see, but severe structure damage, power loss for weeks, and we'll have some isolation from communities. We'll see that all across parts of Jamaica, just because, again, we're going to get some of those mudslides, the significant rain out of this. So this is what we're looking at for the core of this. This is a very dangerous hurricane, regardless if it is Category 4 or Category 5. The potential destruction in this is the same. So again, I'll change these maps a little bit, kind of shift it depending on how these wobble. Large, powerful systems actually wobble, and that does make a difference. So that's why I've adjusted some of the winds. Looking down the road, eastern Cuba, once this moves in Tuesday night, some of the winds could be around 110 miles per hour, 177 kilometers an hour. Near Crooked Island and just south, winds of 100 miles per hour, 160 kilometers an hour. Turks and Caicos, we'll still see the hurricane winds may stay just to the north and west. So as of now, about 60 miles per hour with some strong tropical storm conditions, or 96 kilometers an hour for the Turks and Caicos. And again, that's once we get our way into Wednesday. Now the rain, we've been watching it as we get back toward Haiti. Additional totals of upwards. You see this even red shading in here of 300 to 400 millimeters of rain in parts of Haiti, where we could get an additional 10 to 15 inches of rain on top of what we've already had across the peninsula, and some gusty winds. So thinking of the folks on the ground, of course, in Haiti, kind of sheltering in place. I've been getting a lot of reports from some folks there throughout the day. Jamaica, again, we're watching out for the rain that is going to be intense. There could be a couple pockets that get upwards of 750 to pushing 1,000 millimeters of rain, just kind of getting enhanced with the mountains, hence the catastrophic flooding that is a possibility. Either way, here's a different model, just kind of painting it in. Anywhere in this green shading, which is almost all of us at this point, we have the chance to see some totals that could press 750 millimeters or 30 inches of rain. And because we've seen this shifting a little bit more to the west, and I expect more changes. I trust your judgment, you trust mine. We're going to see a couple changes as we go throughout, and we'll just take care of it together. As it's shifted more to the west, that's bringing some of the higher rain totals into our western sections as well across Jamaica. So we'll see these little changes overall as this kind of moves our way. But overall, all of us are getting the hurricane conditions and intense flooding. Now, as it lifts up toward Jamaica, Cuba, eastern Cuba, most of the rain totals 250 millimeters or 10 inches, because it's going to get faster. Once it makes its turn and gets past Jamaica, it will speed up because it gets caught up into a front. That's why it's turning. There's a front back to the west. If the front's just a little bit slower, it's going to move more to the west. If this front kicks in a little bit more, it'll start to make that turn a little bit sooner. And of course, that kind of dictates what happens as we work our way down the road. Now, with that, more of that westerly track, Black River, giving you the heads up, we're going to see that surge potential very high if this nudges more to the west. So we're basically talking about the potential along the entirety of the southern southern coast of 2.5 to 4 meters. So that is 9 to 13 feet. It could be a little bit more than that, pushing about 15 feet. But as a whole, that is at risk across these areas. Again, watching Kingston, we're swinging all the way back toward Black River, and we'll see if this comes on shore right here, a very significant life-threatening surge. That is the extra rise in the water. Then you have the waves on top of it, but that extra rise on the water comes in, and that is oftentimes deadly if folks are in that storm surge zone. So a very, very significant and life-threatening storm surge. I've upped it as well, maybe even a little bit higher, meter to meter and a half near Montego Bay, because if this kind of lifts into the west and then lifts up to the north on the backside, winds around this, we have that counter-clockwise flow, so that'll be filtering in and watching about a meter, maybe about a meter and a half as we swing back toward northeastern sections of Jamaica. So, of course, we've been in action mode in many spots. Crooked Island south back through the Turks and Caicos, eastern Cuba. We're making those hurricane preparations as well. We're watching the flooding still parts of the Dominican Republic, back through Haiti, especially the peninsula, and everything we can do to stay safe in Jamaica. That's what we've been doing. And tomorrow morning, even if there's a couple breaks, maybe a good idea to check on one another, especially those that are staying alone through this. This weather community is with you, no doubt. Every step of the way, they got you. Just look at some of the comments. Now, all of the models, again, bringing this right over Jamaica. So we haven't seen, we'll see those small changes where I tweak some of the numbers, but we haven't seen any big change or any big shift or anything like that. We'll wait on the turn. The turn's not going to happen yet, but by tomorrow we start to see the turn, and then again late tomorrow night into Tuesday, the conditions go downhill, of course, with the potential of catastrophic kind of results from this as this moves in, and then it's going to lift up toward the southeastern Bahamas. We'll see kind of exactly where it is in here. I'm going to keep an eye on the central Bahamas with more of this westerly track. It may be a little bit more to the west, so I'm going to watch out for that. We may expand kind of action mode, but central and southern Bahamas, we know we're watching this, and we're getting ready just in case northern Bahamas not coming back toward the United States. And we'll keep an eye on down the road, monitoring Bermuda, of course, and then we'll keep an eye on the Atlantic region of Canada, Newfoundland, back toward the Avalon Peninsula. So this will kind of go between Category 4, Category 5. Do not be surprised tomorrow morning if you hear that this is now a Category 5 storm. It'll fluctuate. These storms breathe, as I mentioned. It'll fluctuate. Then we'll get some weakening as it interacts with Jamaica, goes over Jamaica, but still a hurricane as it works its way into Cuba and into the Bahamas, and then getting out into the Atlantic. So taking a look at this, and you can see the track on this. This is kind of a feel of almost all of the models at this point. You can see how the center of this overnight, this is 2 in the morning, sitting here, but we start to get the heavier rain. That's one of the differences we're going to notice tomorrow. The shields of rain just working in. There's the center right here as we work our way into midday, so you can see how it is still to the south. So some of us, first half of tomorrow, kind of like, what storm? It's rainy, it's not that bad. Some of us, it won't be that bad yet. But then as we get into late tomorrow, it starts to make its turn. This is by 8 p.m. You see how long this kind of takes, right? So then eventually it moves in, but all of that rain piling up, still watching the rain in Haiti and back through the Dominican Republic. And then you see by the time we get into Tuesday morning, that's when the center moves on shore. It could be central sections of Jamaica now, maybe a western section somewhere in here. But either way, being on the right side of it, you get that flow that just comes around it and really pumps in the extreme winds and the storm surge and the rain, and then this will lift its way back toward eastern Cuba. But look at Tuesday, still with this flow around it, still giving us some of the hurricane conditions on the north coast of Jamaica deep into the day on Tuesday, and then eventually Tuesday night this pulls on shore somewhere either here or here, back toward eastern Cuba, and then lifting its way up toward the southeastern Bahamas and keeping an eye on the Turks and Caicos as we go through the day on Wednesday. Wednesday morning leaving Cuba, and then working in. It should still be a hurricane at this point. Again, it just depends on when it takes its turn, exactly where we're going to see this up here. And meanwhile, you get those feeder bands of rain still filtering in across parts of Hispaniola. Here's the broader picture with the winds, and you see the scale on your screen, miles per hour and kilometers an hour. Doing my best to keep everyone covered with this. The white shading are the tropical storm winds. The hurricane winds are what we're seeing really in the red for the most part. And you see how they move in, and you can see this right here. This is by the time we get into tomorrow night. That's why I really encourage you to get as much sleep as you can. And sleep as long as you can, even into the morning if that is possible. And then you see it moving in as we get into tomorrow night, into Tuesday morning with the hurricane conditions, that surge eastern end all the way back across the southern coast. And then it lifts right on top of Jamaica, and then just to the north by 5 p.m. on Tuesday. You see it here, still those very strong winds, but after that it will lessen. So that is the end in sight for Jamaica. It's going to be a long haul getting there, but again, late on Tuesday we start to get the improvements as this moves away, lifts through Cuba, watching the Bahamas, watching the Turks and Caicos as we work our way through Wednesday. Then after that Thursday, we'll see how close it gets to Bermuda. So Jamaica with this, so with the eye wall getting on shore eventually by the time we get into tomorrow night, Category 4, Category 5, that's catastrophic damage, the potential of that, structure damage, roof damage, all that sort of thing. But you've been doing what you need to do to be prepared. And then as we work our way over the next several weeks, kind of on the backside of this, we may have that communication cut off for quite a while, some power outages for quite a while that could last weeks, if not longer, in certain areas, and certain communities kind of get cut off depending on where you are, right? If you're up in the mountains, and there was a slide and it knocks out your road.
Then the whole of it tough. We not say nothing can happen to we, but what we are trying to tell say, hand to hand together. So all of the farmers them help out each other. All of the young youth them go check out the neighbor, check out the elders them. Zin, bring in the animals from early, because tonight when it get dark, it'll go cross.
You'll get those updates first, and be sure to check out the comment section. Everyone is with you in Jamaica. We're watching Cuba, Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos, and of course thinking of the flooding ongoing in Haiti. You try to get some rest. Have a good night, and I'll see you in the next video.
Share up the file, families and friends. Share up the file, because you know, say, Rastaman not telling no lie. When we saw it this year,
it is Sunday night, October 26, 2025, watching powerful Hurricane Melissa. It's almost a Category 5 hurricane right now, giving you the very latest on it. Winds are at 145 miles per hour, 157 miles per hour. That makes it a Category 5 hurricane. So it's a Category 4 right now. It is moving to the west very slowly at 5 miles per hour. It's going to continue to the west for at least the next several hours very slowly to the west at 5 miles per hour or 7 kilometers an hour. Then it will start to make its turn up toward Jamaica, and a little bit more of a shift. Again, there's going to be subtle changes in this, right? The last couple days, it could have been anywhere from East Jamaica to West Jamaica. I'm looking at this a little bit more toward the west now, just because of that due westerly route, which overall is a bad thing, because we talked about it days ago on this track. It just sits over water, and that's why it's able to blossom into that Category 4 to Category 5. It is about 185 kilometers south-southwest of Kingston, or 115 miles south-southwest of Kingston. Now is the time, of course, it is getting into overnight. We want to be where we need to be for this storm. It's going to be a slow go. Still tomorrow morning, some of us in our northern zones won't have a ton of action, right? I mentioned the long duration with this, really, especially as we work into late tomorrow. That rain is going to really spread in even more so. We'll get the significant flooding, and then tomorrow night is the worst weather. Sunset tomorrow night into tomorrow night, and early on Tuesday, and much of the day on Tuesday, those hurricane conditions. That's what we're going to be seeing with this. So again, all on track. A little bit more to the west, though. That's what I'm seeing. I don't just rely on the models. Bit more to the west. Looking down the road too, by the time we get into Tuesday